Hey everybody, it's Eric from epautos.com, your Libertarian car guy, and I figure while I'm caught behind this Clover, I would do a little bit of a monologue. This Clover, incidentally, was ahead of me and in front of a truck that was going even slower than that Clover. Well, I started to try to pass both the Clovers, and at the last moment this Clover decided it wanted to pass too, so it put its signal on and pulled right in front of me, and then it creeped around the truck, just barely past the truck. And now the Clover is just gimping along at just under the speed limit, slowing for the curves and sweeping wide in the curves, which is the typical Clover thing to do. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to rant about this morning. I wanted to rant about insurance, and specifically about insurance as a mafia. A reader on the site posted a comment asking me to not be so hard on the insurance companies. And he stated that some of them aren't run for profit, they're run as cooperatives and blah, 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 blah. And that may well be, and I have no issue with insurance per se, as long as it's not mandatory. Once you inject force into it, it becomes the quintessential essence of what a mafia is. Think about your Godfather. What does the mafia do? It makes you an offer you can't refuse. It asks you to do something, asks in air quotes, but you know perfectly well that if you don't say yes and do what the mafia wants you to do, if you say no to the mafia, then there are going to be repercussions, and the repercussions are going to be physical violence. Well, is that any different with regard to mandatory insurance, whether we're talking about car insurance or whether we're talking about health insurance, and soon probably life insurance and gun insurance and every other kind of insurance that you can think of? That's a tangential rant, which I'll get back to in a moment. But that's the issue here. I think insurance is a dandy thing for those who want it, just like any other thing that's available on the free market. If people want to buy something, I think that that's dandy. Let goods and services flow freely. But I have no particular interest in, let's talk about health insurance, because I had a rant up the other day about this subject. I got a threatening letter from the IRS because I had not paid my shared responsibility payment for last year, meaning I hadn't bought insurance. And of course, the federal government has seen fit to act as the Luca Brasi of the health insurance industry and force people to buy insurance. And if you don't buy insurance, guess what? Then they're going to try and extort money from you, and the extortion always carries with the threat of violence. Right now, luckily, it's somewhat held in abeyance with regard to the health insurance thing. My understanding is they can't yet do anything more than retain any of your refund, and that's another rant that's due, that they can't actually come after your bank accounts or in some other way garnish your income and so on to try to force you to pay. But nonetheless, the principle is that they're going to punish you for not buying what they think that you should buy, which is this health insurance. And the health insurance mafia pushed aggressively for the passing of Obamacare. And speaking of passing, hang on a minute. Bye-bye, Clovers, to the both of you. 1 Clover, 2 Clovers. See you later, Clovers. Anyway, that was kind of fun. But that's the point. The insurance companies have figured out that it's more profitable for them to force everybody to buy their product. They can raise the prices of everything across the board that way, because you can't say no. This is why you can't buy, for example, on the free market, the type of policy that's catered to you specifically. For me, example, I'm a divorced guy, I'm by myself, I don't have children, I'm very healthy, I don't have any health problems at all, so I don't go to the doctor for years at a time. I would potentially be interested in a very high deductible catastrophic coverage policy, and that's it. I'm not going to buy, however, maternity coverage. I'm not going to buy substance abuse coverage and a myriad of other things that the law has mandated that I have to buy now or else be punished. It's obnoxious in the extreme. The insurance industry is bankrupting the country. They're forcing everybody to buy car insurance. Now they're forcing everybody to buy health insurance. And to get back to what I mentioned a moment ago, if they can force us to buy health insurance, I see no reason, logically or legally, why they can't also force us to buy life insurance using exactly the same arguments. This whole corporate responsibility thing. Oh, if you croak and something happens to you, then we might have to pay for some of these costs. And so because of that, oh, I've got another Clover here, but you know, I'm debating not passing this Clover because this Clover has an L license plate, and that could be a pig, possibly. And though my radar detector is not going off, I'm still not going to risk it because it could be a Schwein, and I just don't need that today, so I'm going to just continue my rant. Anyway, that's the core problem here. If insurance were voluntary, the cost would be low because you could say no. Think about, you know, car insurance. If you had the option to tell them to bugger off when they jack up your premiums because of some trumped up nonsense like, oh, you got a speeding ticket, even though you've had an accident-free record, never had a claim filed against you for decades, but they're going to jack up your premium because you got a speeding ticket. Imagine if you could tell them, you know what, I no longer want coverage, cancel the policy. Well, their response, their only available response if they want to stay in business, is to say, no, wait, we're sorry, we won't do that. We'll bring it back to what it was. In fact, they'd lower the price of the premium. They'd have to. And the same with regard to health insurance. If you can say no and aren't forced to buy a bundled package of crap that you don't want and don't need, and also don't have to support the myriad legions of fraus, as I style them, at the doctor's office. You may have noticed, you go to the doctor, there's a doctor, maybe two, and 4 times as many fraus, ladies behind the counter, who are just there to peddle paperwork and file paperwork, and each one of those fraus probably costs the practice $40,000 in salary and benefits. So you do the math. That's one of the reasons why health insurance is so goddamned expensive. It's because it's mandated and because of all this bureaucracy and obnoxiousness. Anyway, that is my rant for today. More up at epautos.com shortly. If you go there today, you will see a rant I just posted about this disgusting, despicable, ongoing persecution of Volkswagen Audi. They have just arrested one of the higher-ups at Audi and frog marched him off to the clink, and it's just egregious if you really think about it just for a minute. This company, Audi Volkswagen, has not been shown to have harmed a single human being as a result of this so-called cheating scandal. Not one person, not one actual human being was harmed. And they've incurred so far $30 billion in fines from the government and criminal prosecutions of multiple people who are going to spend years in a prison over this. Meanwhile, stuff that actually does get gets people killed, that the government mandates, for example, these freaking airbags, which do kill people. You can talk all you want to about how many lives they save. They also kill people, particularly when they're defective. Has anybody gone to jail about the defective airbags? That'd be no. You can cite all sorts of examples along those lines. Anyway, end of rant. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you again soon.